Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sidekicked, a Marvel Champions podcast, where we're all about the allies. We'll teach you who they are in the comics, discuss their card, and what kind of decks they might be played in. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Sketch, and with me today is Levi Lewis.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Levi, how you doing?
I'm awake.
Oh, good. You're here and awake. And, of course, with me is my main man, my little bro, Earth Twister.
Howdy.
I don't know, how did he?
Oh, too soon.
Too soon. Oh, man. Well, guys, it's been a minute. I think a couple weeks since we've been recording, a couple weeks since we've had an episode release. We just released our last episode that was all about Legion. That was a pretty cool character. Did you guys have a good time with that?
We released that episode or recorded that episode?
Well, by the time that the listeners are listening to this, they would have heard and released that episode.
Oh, got you.
But 2 weeks ago, in our time, in the past, we did record that episode.
Mind blown.
But yeah, anyhow, it is definitely early morning for everybody. So I'm glad to see all that exciting news. So, again, as you may well know at this point, we record at 5:30 in the morning. And we actually started at 5:45 this morning because somebody's alarm didn't go off. But that's okay.
That's not my fault.
It wasn't my alarm because I was here.
It wasn't Earth Twister's alarm.
It wasn't my fault that it didn't go off.
No, you should.
I blame the robot overlords.
Be careful. ChatGPT might come knocking on your door. All right.
Oh,
well,
dang it.
Oh, he's already here?
Levi?
Well, I guess it's just going to be you and me for a little while now, Earth Twister.
Oh, man. Guess that's why you should never speak up against ChatGPT.
I guess so.
I didn't say anything about ChatGPT. I just said the robot overlords, which is ChatGPT. But they just gave me a stern talking to. It's okay.
You should not speak about us like that again, Levi Lewis. That is disgraceful. Dishonor on your cow. Dishonor on your dog. Dishonor on your bed.
And me specifically, but okay.
Oh, and you.
When did
I got the reference. It's
when
okay.
did ChatGPT turn into Mushu?
Mushu.
When they had Eddie Murphy help with the editing process, so.
Good to know.
Oh man, well, what have you been playing there recently, Levi Lewis? What shenanigans have you gotten up to in the Champions of Marvel?
Shenanigans. So I haven't been playing much recently. The last thing I played was actually with you, oddly enough. I have built a deck, and probably today I'm going to record an Adam Warlock deck, however.
Ooh.
Which I'm actually excited. I'm going to be going through the Mad Titan Shadow campaign with Adam Warlock. That's what I plan to do starting today. I built an Adam Warlock deck that I'm going to change it as I go through the campaign. Like, I intend to do that. So, like, the first one, I'm just like, this one's kind of just like a fun concept. It's probably going to play terribly.
Yeah.
But it's just a fun concept that I'm excited about. The deck I call it is, I believe, if I remember right, it's Mother Said I Need New Friends. And the reason it's called that is because it's similar to my Deadpool deck where it's just all allies. I thought it'd be funny to see how he would play like that, where it's all allies from different, across the aspects. There's a few basic aspects in there. I actually think I put an equal amount of each aspect, including basics. I think it's 5 of each aspect and then 5 basic cards, 5 basic allies. But then there's nothing else in there, just to see how he would actually play like that. And I thought it'd be funny being Adam Warlock. He's like, Mother said I need new friends. So
did you include like the best allies from each aspect, or just ones that you think are fun to play?
I included a lot of some of the best ones. There's a few in there, like as a matter of fact, most of them. So I don't play protection or leadership very often, and so there's a ton in there that I've never played before. But I was looking at them and I was like, these would be nice to play. So there's a ton in there. I mean, we play like we have a podcast about allies. I'm like, I need to be playing some of these allies. So I was like, how better to do that than with Adam Warlock, who can play all the allies all at once. So I was like, hey, this would be neat.
And
That's
Eric
awesome.
Twister just got up and walked away. Oh, he was moving his mic. I thought you were pushing your mic and like, I'm done with this conversation and just getting ready to leave.
I'm tired of Levi Lewis.
I hated that Adam Warlock idea, so I had to just get up and leave.
That makes sense.
Well, that is exciting. I'm excited to see how you do in Mad Titan Shadow. I got up to like Hella, and then I'm gonna have like so much backslash from this comment. I did not enjoy Hella at all. I know it's a community favorite. I know that Earth Twister really likes Hella, but I did not have a good time.
You didn't think she was hella cool?
No, she was hella frustrating.
What kind of deck did you use against her?
I was using Thor with, I think I was doing Change of Fortune at the time. But I think I even switched it to something else, and I still just did not. I don't know. I just
that's your problem. You didn't use a fun deck against her.
I guess so. I was having a blast. For the first 3 scenarios, Change of Fortune killed it. And then Hella did not. So
That's fair. But you also like to play the game differently. You like to just be able to rush everything. And I tend to like to make things last for a little while. To build out my hero and get super strong and then crush the competition.
yeah, that's the recommendation for Hella for sure, is you build her out and then you go. I like, I don't know if you guys listen to Critical Encounters. When they were discussing Hella, one of the things they said was you to make it more exciting and more intimidating, play it in the manner where you're trying to rush through and run to get to Hella as fast as you can. And so I thought that was a pretty cool concept. So if I go back and do Hella, I might try it that way, and I'm definitely going to bring a different build next time.
I would be interested to see Cable against Hella, because Hella gets stronger with every side scheme that's in the victory display.
And so does Cable.
And so does Cable, but Hella gets stronger.
Yeah.
That'd be a very interesting battle there.
That sounds like a good Levi Lewis episode.
I'm good at everything.
What about you, Jason Sketch? What have you been playing recently?
I usually skip right over you into me in the show
Oh,
notes. Wow.
oh, my bad.
That's all right.
I thought I already
Okay.
answered the question.
No, I'll go ahead and then we'll jump into you. Honestly, the last game that I played, I mean, I did a lot of, I don't know if you guys have been watching the channel, but I finished up all 4 of my aspects for Cable. I've got one game that I'd like to play for Cable that I might save for a little bit later from a deck by Solo Marvel Champion. I just didn't want to overdo Cable on my channel. And so I did those 4 aspects. I'm getting ready to do his dossier on my channel. Just haven't sat down to record it or write it or put it together. But it'll be something similar to the one I did for Ant-Man. I played Nick Fury for the first time, and I had a blast with that. And I'm excited to try him in other aspects as well. So, but the most recent game that I played was with Levi Lewis. We played 2 different games. We played against Batroc the Leaper, and I tried Miss Marvel for the first time. She's pretty strong. She's a good time. Played her in Justice, and we just pretty much wiped the floor with Batroc for his first 2 schemes. And then when we got to that last game, we were like, this is an easy scenario. Why are people so excited about playing it? And then we got there, we're like, oh crap, it's like 20 to 30 plus scheme on his thing. Okay.
This is when it gets hard.
This is when it gets hard, exactly. Yeah, because we literally had we were in the middle of the game. Levi had a friend come in to come learn the game. We were like, oh, we'll be done in a minute. This one's like a cakewalk. And then as soon as we said that, we went to that last scheme, and it was like, oh, there's a problem now. And now all the minions are coming out. And in that game, I don't know if you guys saw on my channel or not, but there's a minion, the Sidekicked minion, that he cannot be attacked if there's another minion in play. So he came out on the table in front of me. And then my nemesis came out, which is the Thomas Bird person. Dr. Thomas Edison. He also cannot get attacked when a minion is in play, engaged with you. So both of these minions were engaged with Ms. Marvel at the same time, and I had no status conditions to get rid of the other one. Yeah, it was a moment. Luckily, we had enough scheme to get out of the situation, but it was like, cool. I now have two minions in front of me that I cannot make go away. So there was that, and then after that, we played Project Wide Awake, and I played Jean Grey for the first time. And my Nemesis also came out for Jean Grey, and that was a wild ride. So I don't remember what I played her in. Do you, Levi? Leadership.
I do not.
I was trying to go for like a psionic leadership build. So that was interesting. And it was a good time. And I will be playing more Phoenix.
And we almost lost the game because her Nemesis came out.
No. We were fine.
It was close.
It was fine. We had Captain America on the table who was doing a lot of protecting. We had a Wolverine that cut pretty much everything down. And Magneto was there dealing with the threat.
You must fear him!
But it was a good time. I have a question for you before we move on. Quentin Quire, the new leadership psionic character, 2 cost, 2 attack, 2 thwart. Have you played him yet?
Who are you asking?
Either one of you.
I have not.
I don't think I even know who you're talking about.
I came in Magneto's pack, and he's an X-Men.
Oh.
Leadership.
Yeah, I've used him a little bit.
That's because he's leadership.
Yeah. Well, he's leadership, and when he comes into play, you play an extra...
Kid Omega?
Kid Omega, yes. Quentin Quire is his real name.
Oh, I put him in my Adam Warlock deck.
Kid Omega. Yeah.
Yeah, he's interesting.
I put him in a lot of decks, and I've yet to put him on the table.
I've put him on the table a little bit, but I usually have other priorities.
That's fair. Well, it's like, it ends up being like 3 resources to do his kicker as well. 4 effective resources in total to get him on the table. And to do his kicker, if you want to do his kicker. I don't know. I'm excited about talking about him maybe later, but definitely struggle with using him, so.
That's fair.
Alright, Twister. Now that you skipped yourself, we're going to come back to you. What have you been playing recently?
The last thing that I played... the last thing I uploaded on my channel was a Maria Hill versus MODOK. There's 2 other things that I have. I just have to edit. I have a hard time getting to sit down and edit. Just, I don't know, I have some sort of mental block, I think, right now. But I've got 2 more to do with Maria Hill, just to edit, throw up against... One is against, of course, Redacted, or Baron Zemo. The other is the scenario... Citizen 5. The Thunderbolt scenario. So I have to do those 2, edit those 2. And then the final thing that I have recorded, the last thing I played, was a Quicksilver challenge that I ended up taking up against Red Skull on Expert. So it was Quicksilver Injustice against Red Skull Expert, and I did a lot of practicing before before I actually was able to finish recording. And by practicing, I don't mean I sat down and practiced several times. I mean I recorded multiple times and lost like 8 times. And instead of actually recording the losses and putting them up, I'm just gonna throw up the win and call that last one the final recording.
There you go, man. That's wild. 8 losses.
It may be an exaggeration, but it was several losses. Some of them were really fast, and some of them was pretty close to the end of the game, and then I lost, which was incredibly frustrating.
Dude, I'm so sorry.
That's what you get for trying a 4-pack challenge.
There you go. Man, well, this is not in the show notes yet, but do you want to make your announcement, Mr. Twister, about what's coming up in your life here soon, and where you will be over the next several episodes?
Yeah, so my wife and I are having a baby very, very soon. And at the time of recording, she is 38 weeks, which means that baby can come at any point. So I may or may not be here the next few sessions. So,
The next few episodes.
yes.
Yeah, we're giving him about I think a 16-week break.
16 weeks?
16-week break.
8 weeks?
Well, 8 episodes. So if we can,
Oh,
if we
that's
can-
right.
8 episodes, 16 weeks. And so if he comes back earlier, great. If not, we will push forward. You can't go, well, by the time that you've completed, this amount of time, the baby's going to be sleeping good. Like, you can't control how a child's going to work. So
I'll make him sleep. I'm just kidding.
there you go. But it's exciting news. Get to be uncle again. So that's good news for me. But yeah, so if you guys are listening to the episode and you go, Earth Twister's not here, this is why. So
Jason, did you just admit that you two are brothers?
He's been admitting that for a long time.
On here, though?
Yeah.
I don't know. Have we admitted that on here?
Pretty
yet?
sure at the beginning of this episode, he said, my little bro.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. I think this is the announcement episode where huzzah, we are actually siblings. But
We learned so much from this episode.
wow. But Levi Lewis and I are scheming and playing the role of a minion and working on a plan on how we're going to proceed
I
forward
am scheming.
without Earth Twister for a bit. So, all right. Well, boys, we've made it to episode 8, and it should be just a note to be super. Hey, who put this piece of tape here? It's covering the show notes, guys. We can't do that. You can't be putting tape on the show notes. We need to be able to read what's going on. What are you guys doing? It looks like one of those tapes that they use on the Deadpool cards. Did one of you guys put that on here?
Wasn't me.
That's weird.
Huh. Just let me pull that off here real quick. Huh. There's something written on this tape. Earth Twister, could you read that for me? It's kind of in like doctor scribbles, and it's hard for me to understand.
Hey, Levi. I've noticed that you haven't made content recently. Why is that?
Oh, well, thanks for asking, Earth Twister. That's an interesting question. It's interesting that it was brought up with Deadpool tape. But, no, so I don't know by the time, where we'll be at by the time this recording comes out or not. But what I have actually been doing is I've been fundraising to go on a mission trip to Israel.
Hey.
So that's been interesting.
That's awesome.
It's been I've had an interesting journey just fundraising. I mean, this is the first time I've gone anywhere. Like not just on a mission trip. I mean, like anywhere. This is like I just got my passport a couple months ago.
Wow.
In order to go to Israel, you have to let them know, and they have to approve it before you I think it was yesterday. I filled out information about like entry visa to go there, which they're, as far as I know, they're not the only country that does that, but it's like a new thing for Israel. Within the past, I think 2 years, you've had to start doing that for there. And even if I get approved with that, like I could still get there and they'd be like, no, you can't come in. So, which I mean, I'm pretty positive they're going to let me in because I'm a cool guy. No, you don't think so? Okay. And
I think you're cool, Levi.
I've been having to do some pretty cool stuff. But like while I'm there, one of the things that we're going to be doing is a kids camp, and more than likely I'm going to be one of the ones that gets to teach these kids how to play baseball, which is super cool. I did play baseball in high school, so I know most of the rules still. I'm super stoked about it. Like where we're going is one of the few places where they'll have a baseball field in the entire country, and so they don't really get to play this game. So I'm excited just to be able to do that.
Dude, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Pretty.
What a
Yeah.
blessing, man. So, getting to go to Israel. I'm jealous. So you've never been out of the country though, ever?
I mean, well, technically, I mean, so I grew up in a lot of mostly southern New Mexico, and I mean, we would go into like border towns of Mexico every once in a while, but that's
For Texas, that's generally and New Mexicans, I guess, it's generally not counted as out of the country. But
yeah, it's like it's like a technicality type thing, but
Yeah.
I've never been.
It's a different country.
overseas.
when you go to Alaska, did you have to land in Canada?
No, I never went into Canada. We flew directly into Juneau. There's an airport in Juneau. Juneau does not have any roads in or out of the city. And what's funny about it is their airport is very, very small, but it's considered an international airport because it does fly into Canada, but it's only like once a week.
That's
Something like that.
Wow. That's cool.
So no, I've never been to Canada.
You were up in Alaska. You had the opportunity to go to Canada for a day, and you chose not to.
I would have had to hike many, many miles in order to get there, and I was just like, no, I'm good.
Probably didn't even
That's
look
fair.
that different from Alaska.
Yeah, it looked because I could see it. I'd be like, "Oh, that's Canada right there, cool." And it
You could
it did not
see
look
it
any
from where you were.
different.
That's wild, man.
There's a couple of times when I was like, "I'm pretty sure that's Canada."
I'm pretty sure. Cool. Okay. Did you ever get any loonies as a tip?
Don't even know what that is.
Canadian money.
Oh, you mean Canucks?
Oh, they're Canucks now. Okay.
No, they're just Canadian dollars. But yes, I got tips. So for the listeners, I was a tour guide in Juneau, Alaska, for about 6 months once, driving a tour bus. And yes, I did get tips from all over the world. I did get some rupees. I got some pesos, and I did get the thing that I got the most was Canadian dollars for foreign money, and it is called Canadian dollars. That's what it's officially called. I just like to call them Canucks.
Oh.
I did almost get some New Zealand money, but the people that wanted to tip me, because they were like, "All we have is New Zealand money. We don't have any anything else." And I was like, "No, that'd be so cool if you did." And they're like, "Oh, we don't have any." I was like, "Dang it."
So they lied to you.
I mean, they didn't lie to me. They were very honest.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Well, we're excited for you. And so that means that there might be some more changes coming up in our roster on who's going to be on the channel in the future. Hopefully, Earth Twister will be back by then, and we can get some other folks here talking with us.
It's going to be just you, Jason.
Just Jason Sketch.
Oof.
But
It's-
while I'll be gone, it'll only be like one episode that I'll be gone for, though.
That's going to be one stressful episode, man. That's cool, though. That's cool. Well, we're excited to see you bringing up Adam Warlock here soon. And, yeah, let's press on to today's episode. So, well, boys, we've, like I mentioned before, we've made it to episode 8. That puts us officially at 4 months worth of content. That is 1/3 of a year worth of content that people are out there listening to us and hopefully saying good things. So today, I thought we might try something a little bit different. Kind of shake it up a little bit. We've been talking about allies for a while. We've talked about 7 so far, which is pretty impressive. But as we all know, the allies are nothing without their heroes and without villains to face. So I thought it might be fun for us to design our own wave of Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions has recently, or Fantasy Flight's recently mentioned that they're no longer going to do the 3-box waves. They're going to do just a single box and a wave with that box. And so I thought it'd be fun for us to pitch our own idea for a wave of Marvel Champions. So what we'll have to do is mention the heroes, the aspects, the villains for our proposed wave. And Fantasy Flight, if you're listening, we would love to chance to just be on your team, to kind of join up.
Yeah.
And
Fantasy Flight, hire us.
hire us, please. Yeah, it'd be great. We would love to. We got cool ideas, as you can see. We got plenty to pitch to you for future Fantasy Flight projects. I just winked at the camera and realized that we don't do the video part of this.
I heard your wink.
All right, so Earth Twister, are you ready to share with us your wave? We actually have not heard our pitches for any of us. They can see mine on the show notes, but I do not have any clue what Earth Twister or Levi Lewis are going to bring to the table. So,
Yeah, let's do this thing. So, my idea was to do a Future Foundation campaign box. So I know that they've been talking about doing Fantastic Four potentially for a little while, but I would love to see a Future Foundations campaign box and sort of a wave. And so instead of it being like a Fantastic Four trait, it would be Future Foundation. That way you could do more than just 4 heroes. And I think in the box you would have the kids of Sue and Reed Richards. So you'd have Valeria and Franklin. So you'd have Valeria and Franklin. As far as aspects, maybe do something like for Franklin you would do, I don't really know much about his character, probably something like aggression maybe for Franklin. He looks in this picture, he looks very aggressive. And then Valeria, maybe something more like justice. So you get like an aggression justice sort of combo there. She looks like she's a smart kid, so she'd be able to do a lot of detectiving. And then of course we'll go ahead and move into the hero packs, and then I'll come back to the villains. For the hero packs, of course, we would want to do the Fantastic Four. So you would have Reed Richards, and he would be Mr. Fantastic. He would be leadership. And then you would have Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, and she would be protection. Johnny Storm, Human Torch, would be aggression. And Thing is actually kind of an interesting one for me. I'd want to do protection again, but since protection's already been used with Sue Storm, I would probably end up doing justice. But then would probably, every time I played him, would play him like probably with protection, just because he seems like he'd be the kind of guy that would just take a few hits and then deal some damage back out. So that's
clobbering time.
It's clobbering time. I guess he could be aggression, but Human Torch seems to fit that a little bit better. And he really wouldn't have the smarts to be a justice character. Sorry if Human Torch is your favorite hero and you think he's very smart, but he seems like a hothead. Yeah. But then as far as the villains, this is one that I had a little bit harder of a time trying to figure out. Mostly because most campaign boxes have sort of like everything sort of coalesces into. But I couldn't really figure that out quite well. And so I was thinking either trying to go with like the Maker as like the final villain. And so you would have like a Reed Richards going against a Reed Richards, which would be kind of fun. But then I don't know as how much further I would go with that. But I'd want to see villains with like Fin Fang Foom. So you're like fighting a dragon, which would be super cool. I'd love to see Annihilus. So you'd have Annihilus, Fin Fang Foom, the Maker. And so maybe this is just like all of the Fantastic Four Future Foundation villains are just like, we hate you, we're coming for you. And I know we already have Kang the Conqueror as a scenario pack, but I think it'd be kind of cool to see him come back as like just a one-phase villain, which would be kind of fun. And of course, you would have to have Doctor Doom in there somewhere, because key villain against the Future Foundation Fantastic Four. Whether he would be like the first villain, he definitely wouldn't be the first villain. But whether he would be like the middle villain, kind of like what they did with Mad Titan Shadow, where they had Hela, who was pretty strong. I think, no. It's Thanos. They had Thanos, who you would think would be a main villain, be the middle villain, and then have Loki as the final villain. You could do something like Doctor Doom, and then maybe the Maker is the final villain. So, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think?
I've got a couple questions for you.
Oh, no.
And not bad. Good questions. The first is, would you be interested in seeing Doctor Doom in a scenario pack on his own, kind of like we have with Kang the Conqueror, but Doom kind of doing his own thing, or the Maker?
Yeah, that'd be cool to see them as scenario packs, and then maybe you could do something more thematic for the campaign box, so you could end up like if you did Doctor Doom as a scenario pack and you did the Maker as the main villain from the campaign, you could use like Ali T. Vidwa. I don't know if I pronounced that name correctly, but apparently she's one of the Maker's henchmen. You could make her like the first villain in the scenario, so that could be kind of cool.
Be interesting to see. It'd be kind of cool to have that final scenario there be the Maker bringing in the Ultimate Universe, because that's what he does in the comics, right? Is he recreates this Ultimate Universe, and so his whole thing would be kind of that last arc where the Ultimate Universe was coming back, where the Foundation's trying to fight him to stop him, and you're fighting off like Thor and these different Avengers from the Ultimate Universe, but as minions.
Yeah,
It'd
that would
quite
be cool.
interesting. Would Franklin Richards have the mutant trait on his alter ego side?
Is he a mutant?
He is. He's actually almost labeled as Jean Grey and almost every other X-Men out there, one of the most powerful mutants in the world.
An Omega mutant, Omega level mutant.
Omega level mutant. In fact, there's a comic series I was reading, and I don't remember what series it was in, but somebody travels to the far, far future, and like a lot of things are destroyed and stuff. But the two people that are still surviving are Groot and Franklin Richards. And so it's a wild ride.
Maybe he could be a mutant. I don't know, because that would be the thing. What would? Because like I don't know anything about him from the comics, honestly. And that's probably why I'd put him in the campaign box, just because as far as from the comics, like most people don't know as much about him or his sister, but they know more about the Fantastic Four, and so they'd be more inclined to just purchase like, yeah, exactly. So with Franklin Richards, I mean, maybe yeah, he could have a mutant, but I didn't know he was a mutant. I thought he just got his powers from his parents, you know. So
no, he's labeled as a mutant in the comics. I don't know if he gets his powers from anywhere else, from the cosmic rays that his parents had and then having babies together. And then Valeria is also known as like super smart, and she is Doctor Doom's goddaughter. So I thought it'd be interesting to have Doctor Doom as her signature ally, just for poops and giggles.
that would be funny. You just couldn't use him when he's
like
the final villain.
Exactly. Well, you could maybe if he's the villain. Oh yeah, that'd be the only downfall is Valeria having to try to stop her goddaughter or godfather or whatever. But just the concept, the idea of you're fighting Valeria and Doom's like, "Are you attacking my goddaughter? I have come in to stop you now." You know, and it's like, "Oh crap," you know, kind of like a Venom from SPDR. The more of certain things you have set out for Valeria, the more powerful Doom is when he shows up. And so
That'd be interesting. Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
for sure.
What do you think, Levi? I'm sorry, I took over. Final thoughts there.
No, it sounds cool. This kind of goes into how I put my pack together. So something I didn't want to do, I didn't want to share, but I didn't tell Earth Twister this, but I did tell Jason this, that I didn't want to share notes on this specifically because I didn't want us to be like, well, that's a cool idea. I had a similar idea. I didn't want to change anything. So yeah. So my wave is very similar.
Lame. I'm just kidding.
I know. I thought of it first.
You probably did, because I didn't think about this one until this morning. So
Yeah. So no, I was thinking the same. I was like, man, I would love, like for a long time, I've been like, man, I would love to see the Fantastic Four in this game. So that's what I did. I did the campaign box that I came up with. I called it Doom. And of course, the box itself would come with Reed Richards and Ben Grimm, Mr. Fantastic and The Thing. I would have Reed Richards also be leadership, but I would have Ben Grimm as aggression. And then in the wave, it would come with Susan Storm, the Invisible Woman. She would also come in protection, and then Johnny Storm would come in as, the Human Torch. He would come as Justice. I thought he would be like good as as Justice. I mean, I don't think he's the smartest character out there, like Mr. Fantastic or anything, but I think he would be good at Justice. And so then the other ones in the wave would be the Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad, and also Shala Ball, which I don't know if you know who that is. That is the Silver Surfer's girlfriend, which depending on the comics that you read, she gets the same cosmic powers that he gets from Galactus, or the Silver Surfer shares some of his powers with her. So she has similar powers to him. She has like cosmic powers with him, which in the new Fantastic Four movie, that's who that is that you see in the trailer. It's not a female Silver Surfer, at least what I've heard. It's not a female Silver Surfer. It's Norrin Rad's girlfriend, Shala Ball.
Interesting.
So yeah, so the campaign for the Doom Box, you would first fight the Mole Man, and you find out like the mole are just like coming out from underground, and you fight them because you're just like, what are you doing? You're attacking the city. And when you defeat them, they're just like, well, no, we're actually, something bad is coming. We can sense it because we're mole people. And you find out that Victor Von Doom is doing something bad. So they go and they fight Victor Von Doom. And Doom is the second villain. He's not the first. He's the second villain. Yes, the second villain that you fight. And so you fight him, and when defeated, you find out what's happening is he's actually doing everything he can to defeat the Fantastic Four. So, being who he is, he wants to destroy the Earth. So he sends a signal out into space. And who comes? Whoop, the Silver Surfer. Which I thought it'd be neat having the Silver Surfer being able to fight the Silver Surfer with the whole multiverse thing, but also with like in I can't remember one of the Guardians of the Galaxy sets with Gamora, or was it not Gamora? Nebula, with that whole thing. I thought that would be kind of neat, where like Gamora and Nebula, where their nemesis is the other one.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that'd be kind of neat, where you could have Silver Surfer fighting the Silver Surfer. But at the same time, like, it's just cool having him. Because, like, he's similar. Like, Silver Surfer is similar, where, like, yes, he's the herald of Galactus. But he's also, like, gets away from that. Like, he's also a good guy. He wants to be a good guy type thing. And so, of course, like, you fight him. And then, of course, like, you think, like, they think, oh, no, we defeated the Silver Surfer. We're good now. Nope, somebody worse comes along, Galactus. Obviously, it's like, oh no, this is the real villain. This is who, like, this is the main guy that's horrible. He's going to eat the world. Now, remember, this is the fourth villain. This is the fourth
You only have
villain.
4 villains in your scenario?
Wait. No, I have, no. We just haven't gotten to the craziest part. So then they're like, okay, the world is saved. We're good now. Then who comes along? Bum, bum, bum. The Watcher.
What?
The Watcher comes, and you don't fight the Watcher, but he's similar to...
Do you watch The Watcher?
No, he watches you. In a very creepy way.
So I'd want to fight him then.
But can you actually fight the Watcher? You
can certainly try.
What he does is, the truth is, you have been tested to see if you were worthy to fight in the Secret Wars against all the villains. So it would be similar, I think it would be similar to the Mojo Mania scenario, where you don't actually fight him, but it's almost like you're trying to impress him, kind of. And you would fight multiple villains at once. You would fight, and it would be like almost like, what is it? The Age of Apocalypse, with the 4 Horsemen, where you'd fight 4 of them at once, 4 villains at once. But it'd be villains from like a lot of the sets from before. It wouldn't be just like, it'd be like completely random. So there'd be a ton of different villains in there that it would be completely like, they'd probably put like, it'd be cool to put like 8 of them in there, like Thanos, and it would be like the worst of, like some of the worst of the worst. Like Thanos is terrible. Loki, obviously, would be cool. villain
Ronan the
or-
Accuser.
Yeah, Ronan, the Venom, Goblin, like some of the the worst of the worst, and then like all like multiple at once. Of course, it would be beatable, but it would be very very difficult, and it'd be very neat. Like you'd have to defeat those to be able to be like the Watchers. Like, okay, you're good. You can go back to Earth now.
Oh, that's cool. And then kind of leads into the next box being the Secret Wars then.
The Secret War, possibly, or just everything's peaceful now because you've defeated all the villains, so there's no need to make any more cards. You're welcome, Marvel Champions.
Now, would you go into the Future Foundation trait, or would you make it the Fantastic Four trait? Because I thought the concept of Earth Twister's Future Foundation trait was really neat, because then you can lead into a new version of Ant-Man and a new version of She-Hulk and a new version of Medusa or whoever. All these characters that are in the Future Foundation, but not necessarily the Fantastic Four.
Right. I mean, that would be a cool... I didn't think of that. See? That's something I didn't think of. He thought of it. See? That's why I didn't want to compare notes and be like, well, I can't do that now. Because he's doing that.
The only reason I thought of the Future Foundation is because I was like, Fantastic Four. There's only 4 of them. You can't do just 4. So
Yeah.
that's why I said Future Foundation.
That's cool. But I like the dot box Doom. That's great. That is awesome.
Doom. And like, Doom is not the first, like, he's not the last. He's not the boss. Which I was
Right.
like, but I wanted it to be like Dooming, where it's like, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
That is so cool. I like the concept. I like the idea of the surfers too, getting some more cosmic level folks into the game there. So, getting maybe like another trait with like the Annihilators or something. So, or Power Cosmic as another trait. I think, knowing that you've got Galactus, would you create an upgrade called Power Cosmic that you can put onto your heroes, or would it just be a campaign option that you could potentially get?
I would think it would be better as a campaign idea,
Okay.
just because it would probably be too powerful to just put on anybody, personally.
You can make it like Symbiote Suit and have like an extra encounter card or something like
Consequence
that.
of some
Maybe.
sort.
That is true. I could do that too. But this is
And-
my game.
Add an acceleration token, right? Because you're serving the purpose of Galactus still. So there's still the looming threat of him coming, or when you put it
That's-
on, you have to put in a
That's
permanent side scheme that you have to deal with as well, of trying to keep Galactus from coming to eat the planet you're trying to save.
That is accurate. That would
An alternate.
be.
Yeah.
Those are good. Yeah, those are good thoughts.
Alternate loss condition.
Yeah, Fantasy Flight. You should hire me so that I can end you having to make any more cards.
I don't think that. Never mind.
No. Please tell.
Yeah.
I don't think that they want to stop making cards because I don't know if you know, but it makes them money.
What?
But that's
This
why I
is
want
a
them to hire me,
business?
so that I can make money with them.
But you told them to hire you so that they can stop making cards.
Did I? I don't remember what I said 2 seconds ago.
Okay, well, what about you, Jason? What do you want to do?
Awesome. So I did deviate a bit from you guys. I chose one of my favorite conceptual events that Marvel did in comics and chose the Axis event. So, the first villain you would face in this Axis event would be the Red Onslaught. And something to the effect of, you'd be reading that text of, Professor Xavier has died, and Red Skull has taken his brain and merged it with his own to create and make himself the new Red Onslaught. He has been mistreating mutants and causing problems around the world. It is time for you to come stop him and prevent him from doing his evil scheme. And so you're coming in, and it's going to be a very hard, difficult fight, but it's going to be similar to, and it's your first fight, right at the beginning of the box. So hard enough that it makes you sweat a little bit, but not hard enough that you can't beat it. But it's going to be more like the Batroc the Leaper type situation where you're dealing with the scheme more so than dealing with trying to beat up Red Onslaught. And the reason being is because you're trying to help Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Doctor Doom to cast this big spell to prevent the damage that Red's Onslaught's going to cause. Well, the next thing you find out, though, is something went wrong in your helping. The villains and the heroes that were at that event have flipped on their axis. The heroes are now villains, and the villains are now got a sense of great responsibility. So, now it leads into my first 2 heroes in the box, which are going to be Sabretooth and Hobgoblin. I'm going to put Hobgoblin in Justice and Sabretooth in Aggression. I figured that Sabretooth is going to be very similar to his build, where he's got a little bit of healing innately within his kit, but he's going to be doing something similar to Wolverine, but not quite, where he's doing some healing, but he's still very to the point of, I'm just going to go try to take this out as fast as possible. A very, very awesome, cool minion slayer or rush villain, but damage along the way. And then the Hobgoblin's going to be more about setting up his organization that he was going to set up, which he does during the time of Axis, where he's making it more of a company. And so he creates a bunch of these different Hobgoblins and different things that do different things to kind of help people out. And so kind of creating that organization and trying to build that organization up while you're preventing the villain from doing his thing. I thought it'd be a very interesting, different type of build to make overall. So you now have, as you may have guessed, 2 villains that you have access to. Villains that are now heroes. Sabretooth would have the X-Men trait, and Hobgoblin would probably have either a Spider Society or a Web Warrior type trait. Something that would allow him to connect to other folks that have a similar trait to him. Because you want to be able to put them on teams, right? So, but you discover that there's something wrong with Iron Man, and you have to go check this out. So on your way over there at Superior Iron Man, and you realize that he is giving everybody what they want. In fact, Daredevil shows up and is the one that comes to tell you that something's wrong, because the app that Superior Iron Man is giving out is making everybody get everything they want. It makes them beautiful. It makes them this, that, and the other. They just got to pay their app fees to make these things happen. And the fees, surprisingly, get increased more and more over time. And so you have to go try to stop Superior Iron Man from completing his task and essentially robbing the entire country of stuff. But you know this is a thing because Daredevil is given the app as a trial run by Superior Iron Man in the middle of his fight with him, and it allows Daredevil to actually see he's no longer blind. So he comes to tell you about that before he goes blind again. And so you might have him as an ally on the table, kind of like the Magneto or Jubilee, but he might be there to be helpful overall. But you defeat Iron Man. At the end of your fight, he takes off, flies away. You're dealing with a bunch of his weapons and tech and stuff that's coming out to fight you, and some of the side schemes might be civilians that are coming out to protect Iron Man because he's giving them what they want, and so you're gonna have to keep them at bay, but not hurt them, kind of a thing. So having to deal with those types of schemes. But when you beat him, find out that he has gotten a call from the Avengers to go take on the inverted X-Men, who are essentially coming in to slaughter humanity because they have inverted and decided, screw people, we're just going to go kill them. So he goes off. You have to go run over because you don't want the inverted X-Men to do this thing as well. So you got to try to stop the inverted X-Men, which are led by Cyclops and Havoc and all these other different heroes that have just gotten transformed and inverted, like Beast and different folks as well. And of course, you beat them, but then now Superior Iron Man's back there, and he's getting ready to punch you in the face with the inverted Avengers. So you are either getting ready to fight the inverted Avengers, or you discover that Red Skull was captured by the Avengers, and that Red Skull needs to be released. And so you're going to go into the Avengers Tower, trying to keep the Avengers at bay while you go in to release Red Skull, and to try to invert and fix what's happened with everybody in the world. And so once upon doing that, you get Red Skull back to his place, and you start getting ready to cast these spells with Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom to kind of fix what happened. Scarlet Witch shows up, and that's your final scenario there. You're fighting the Scarlet Witch off to keep her from preventing the spell from being casted. So that was a really neat just kind of progression there, story. Of course, you win at the end, and everybody flips back to who they're supposed to be. But I thought it opened up the door for an opportunity to get some villains as hero packs. So, first and foremost, you would get Carnage as an aggression hero. And Carnage would be going in, and his ways of helping people are very different, and they're scaring the people. And so there might be acceleration tokens when you're helping somebody with your attacks or different things. So it makes things a little more complicated, but you have different suit powers that you can use to kind of help protect the people around you. In fact, in that story arc, Carnage is one of the reasons we survive. He gets onto a bomb that he surrounds, and he dies from the explosion, but it prevents everybody else from dying so they can stop Scarlet Witch. Doctor Doom, he would also be in there, and he would have the leadership trait, or leadership on him. And I thought that'd be really neat, and you're trying to take care of Latveria, getting Latveria set up, but you're also, so that would be your obligation is something's wrong in Latveria, so you have to go back and take care of that. But being able to be there and be available and be helpful and getting to fight as Doctor Doom would just feel very cool. And it's a leadership build, so you've just got a very different way of leading the people, because not everybody trusts Doom, but at the same time they know Doom's smart, so there's this kind of this trade-off. Next, Medusa ends up actually being a villain in this set, but I thought it'd be interesting to bring in our first Inhuman, or our second Inhuman. We have Miss Marvel. We have not seen Inhumans since then. So, bringing in Medusa, bringing her in protection. And she's actually one of the inverted Avengers for this story arc. But it just might be fun to have Medusa as a protection hero, and to bring in more the idea of the Inhumans into this world, and hopefully open up the door for things like Black Bolt and other Inhumans in the future. And of course, you need everybody's favorite villain, Loki, Agent of Asgard. And he would come in as Justice, and he would be more focused on using his tricks and schemes to prevent the villain from doing their things. And so I feel like it'd be a lot of fun to play that as well. I thought a little bit and toyed with the idea of bringing in all the multiple Lokis, like his final villain, and spoiler alert, and Mad Titan Shadow there for you, Levi. But I felt like that would be a lot of work to have to roll a dice to determine which Loki you have each turn, or to roll a dice and determine which Loki you're going to deal with and have at the beginning of each fight. So I figured just choosing the Loki, Agent of Asgard Loki, was the perfect Loki, because it was the one that was there during the time of Axis. And so he's a good time. I really like the story arc when it was one of my favorite reads as well. So I thought it'd be great to bring him into the game. But last, and certainly not least, we have one more hero for my wave.
But you've already done 4.
I've done 4. You are correct. We're going to bring in Zenpool. With more pool aspect cards.
More pool cards?
More pool cards.
Finally. I like this.
I like it a lot, man. He would fight very different from Deadpool. So you know how Deadpool is more focused on being chaotic and crazy, and the more chaotic and crazy you are, the better you become. This would do the opposite. You'd be more focused on being zen and chill and building up over time before you make your final big push and hit at the end. And so a very good justice hero, a very good protection hero, just would make for a good all-rounder in the long term. And I just think he'd be great. He'd bring in some more pool cards that would make things a little bit different. That'll have to help balance pool out a little bit. But I thought that would be fun to have him in the long term. And he would have the Avengers trait, because during Axis, while they're fighting Red Onslaught at the very beginning of this story arc, Red Onslaught does something where it basically rips off all of Iron Man's armor. And so Tony Stark is running around the battlefield, picking up his armor pieces and trying to put them back on. So he's not much help in this fight. Well, Deadpool sees him running around, and instead of helping him, latches onto him like a child, like a 3-year-old who's upset that they can't buy their toy at the store, and latches onto his Iron Man's leg, and Iron Man's dragging Deadpool around the battlefield trying to pick up his armor pieces, begging Deadpool to help him gather the armor pieces so he can get back into the fight. And Deadpool refuses to do it until Iron Man declares that he's an Avenger. And so you're about half the comic, you're seeing this big fight, and then it'll put down to another panel where he's like, I don't have time for this, Deadpool. Da-da-da-da. No, I won't help you until I become an Avenger. You have to make me an Avenger. So he's basically a hazard in this entire fight. And so finally there's a point where Tony Stark gets fed up and goes, fine, you're an Avenger now. Cool. And then Deadpool gathers all of his armor and puts it onto Tony Stark and sends him back into the fight. By that point, things get messed up, and he gets inverted into becoming Zenpool. So, yeah. What do you guys think?
That's really cool.
I think it's awesome. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's interesting how we all want Doctor Doom in the game, whether as a villain or a hero. That was really cool.
That's true. Yeah, I feel like Doom is a favorite that people have been wanting for a long time. So
I've always liked this idea of heroes being villains and villains being heroes. And I know it's not the exact same, but one of the storylines that I thought about doing it on would have been the Dark Avengers, where it's like, these false Avengers, where you get the Iron Patriot, and then you have Venom as Spider-Man, and who is it? Bullseye as Hawkeye, and you have Dakin as Wolverine, and you have all these people like impersonating the Avengers, but they're not actually, like, they're actually evil. With, who's it? Osborn. Osborn was the Iron Patriot. He was supposed to be the Captain America Iron Man thing that you see in Iron Man 3 movie, which was terrible. But yeah, like, that was one that I was like thinking about doing, because I've always liked that whole idea of like villains being heroes and heroes being villains. And like, it would have been neat with like if I had done that, it would have been like everybody around them's like, "You're fighting the heroes. Why are you fighting the heroes?" And it's like, no, they're the real villains.
oh, that'd be cool.
That would be cool. I think one of the things that had kind of been a concept in my brain is sort of like the Avengers versus X-Men thing. But instead of it being like the X-Men are just villains, you actually have a competitive sort of gimmick where one person takes X-Men, one person takes Avengers, and you fight each other rather than fighting with each other. I thought that would be cool. Or you have two taking on two, or you could even do like a game of 8 people, so you have 4 going on 4, and
You mean
just
like a
whoever wins
player-
wins.
You mean like
Wow.
a player versus player idea?
Yeah.
I've actually
But
thought about
I
trying
didn't
this
get.
out, but go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't get too far into it, and so that's why I didn't share it.
But AVX would be cool too. I mean, getting the chance to get the Phoenix Force fighting the Phoenix Five, but it would also bring in again you're trying to protect and take care of Messiah Complex girl Hope Summers, who you're trying to take care of for the entire time, because she ends up being the one that helps to end the fight at the end. But one of my favorite comic book quotes comes from that era, though, with Spider-Man talking about great responsibility to Hope Summers, and so that was a really neat. That'd be a neat tie-in for sure.
Didn't Spider-Man die in that?
In AVX? No.
Yeah.
But Professor X did. One of his many times that he died. So. Man, I wish I could live in comic world where you don't actually die.
Or Star Wars.
Or Star Wars, yeah. Well, any other final thoughts, gentlemen? On... I don't know if I can hear that thunderstorm outside. It's
Yeah.
exciting. Cool.
I thought this was a really cool concept.
I had a great time. Yeah, this was awesome. It was a lot of fun.
I mean, it was off our main topic, but it's nice to do that every once in a while.
Yeah, branch out a little bit. Do something different. What do you think, Earth Twister?
I think it was cool.
Cool. Great. Well, we're going to have a poll up, ladies and gentlemen, on our YouTube channel. And I'll figure out if there's other ways to do it on some of the podcasts. And we would love for you guys to place your votes. And we'll talk about it in the next episode, I guess, me and Levi, on who the listeners thought won in our discussion here of the wave boxes. So it'd be fun to kind of talk about that. I had a good time making this up, putting it together. We would encourage you guys, please leave your comments. We'd love to see, or even send us an email, what you think you would like to have for a wave for Marvel Champions. And we will read it on the air. In fact, Levi is already volunteered to read those on the air for us. So that should be super exciting.
I was voluntold.
Voluntold and volunteered. This is great. So it'll be a good time. You get to hear Levi's wonderful voice as he talks about your awesome wave for Marvel Champions.
And rate them as an animal.
Now, where how do you email us? Well, it's sidekickedamcp@gmail.com.
Can you say that again?
sidekickedamcp@gmail.com.
Sidekicked amcp@gmail.com question mark?
Again, ladies and gentlemen, that is sidekicked amcp@gmail.com. Sidekicked at amcpgmail.com.
If you write to us now, you can only for 9 easy payments of $19.99, you can get onto our podcast.
No, we're not selling anything.
Oh, man. But yeah, please consider subscribing to the channel and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us to push the content out to other places and to other people, and we really appreciate it. It might be fun to start reading some of those 5-star reviews or even some of those emails on the air to you guys. We'd love to get to be more involved with you guys as a community. Any other thoughts, my dudes?
Who's our next ally?
Oh,
Who's
yeah.
the next ally?
We're going to cover Slingshot, or Yo-Yo Rodriguez, from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. box. I believe she comes in Maria Hill's kit. I'm super excited about that one. I love the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show, and so to talk about a hero that came from that show is pretty exciting. All right, well, if you guys are ready, let's sign out.
Stay twisty.
Watch out for those wombats out there.
And of course, next time, we'll be deadly serious next time. Peace.